option,
think
John.
he gives it.
Why isn't he more forceful right now on the side of these union workers in Wisconsin? Now, I know I read your book. You think unions should just disappear altogether.
If you work for the government, you should not be allowed to unionize at all.
Why is that?
Oh, come on, Michelle.
Seriously.
But why? What is your reason?
Absolutely, because, look, if you're a private sector union and you demand a lot from the company eventually suffers because they can't sell the product, it's not competitive, the company goes out of business, the union goes along with it. But when government employees can unionize, they're monopolistic providers. You can't get that service from anybody else. And so what do? They constantly ask for more. Politicians can tax and spend their way to appease them. And you have no more choices.
Michelle, plausible but not persuasive. Plausible but not persuasive. There are two big, gigantic holes in your argument, respectfully. The first hole is that government, historically, has been one of the greatest perpetrators of injustice in this country. Our government.
Oh, yeah.
And
so now. I agree with that.
If we're talking then...
That's why we need less of it.
So if we're talking then about justice for everybody, then even those workers who work for the government ought not to be subjected to being maltreated just because they work for government, number one. And number two, let's get off this beating up on unions. We work an 8-hour workday because of unions. We have a minimum wage. It's not a living wage, but a minimum wage because of unions. Companies have to give health care because of unions. So much what we enjoy in the workplace came because of unions.
But in the old days, remember before, if you worked for the government, there was a trade-off. You weren't going to get paid as well, but you knew you had job security and a good pension. Now there's no trade-off. Now you get paid better than the private sector. You get better benefits than the private sector.
That's disputable.
And you have these great benefits in retirement that nobody else gets.
Okay, but first, let's inject some facts into this, because I think people... No, I'm not, that's not a knock on you. I'm just saying people may not be aware, for example, that unions are dying already on their own. They used to be 35% of the workforce. They're down to 7%.
Yep.
They're the David in this matchup with corporations. Right. They're not the Goliath. Second of all, unions, their decline has been bad for everyone in America who's not a CEO. Back when unions were strong, back when unions were strong, I mean, the average worker, compared to what the CEO made, it was maybe 10 or 20 times what the average worker. Now the average CEO makes 300 to 500 times what the average worker makes. Do you really think it benefits America that the top 400 richest people in this country have as much income as the bottom 50%? 400 people make as much as 100 million people?
I want to hear this.
Look. Nobody likes income inequality.
Well, a lot of Republicans do.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, if you don't like it, you have a funny way of showing it.
Income inequality is the trade-off we accept for growth. And in capitalism, we could go to a point where there is no income inequality. It doesn't work.
That's not income inequality. That's rape.
Yeah,
those are two different things.
Yeah, no one's asking
we could go to income. We could go when everybody's even, everybody's poor.
All right, that's a straw man. You're saying we can either have what we have now, which is this gigantic income inequality, or we can have total communism. There is something in between, which is more like what we had before 1980. Is there not?
This is a fantastically interesting argument, but it has almost nothing to do with what's going on in Wisconsin, which is, simply put, the union movement in America right now is the last actual muscle that the Democratic Party has nationally. It is, if you look at campaign spending across the country, the only thing that stands between Democrats being routed across the country and having some credibility in running elections. This is an assault waged not just by the governor of Wisconsin, but by the entire Republican establishment, conservative establishment, on the ability of Democrats to compete in elections from not just in Wisconsin, but across the country going forward. And it is a purely political thing. If they can strip collective bargaining from the unions in Wisconsin, they will try to do it in every state of the country and destroy the union movement as a political force, not just as an economic force.
But John,
that's what this is about.
But I agree with you. Right. But it begs Bill's question again, though. If it's all that, and I agree with you that it is, why hasn't, to Bill's point, the president been more forceful, standing behind these workers in Wisconsin? If that's what's at stake, shouldn't the president get involved in this?
Because
you got to ask.
That's what I'm saying. You voted for him. Give him a call.
That's right.
Come on.